Hey there, I'm Michael Saylor. Today I want to talk about why Bitcoin is such a big deal and why it's about to explode in price. But before we dive into that, let me address something. First, this was a long episode and it's okay if you want to listen it completely, but if you are short on time, this 10-15 minute shorter version was done with PodFast, an AI content summary tool. Second, people often ask if the gold standard is working in countries like Turkey or China. Well, the answer is no. If it was working, their economies wouldn't be crashing, and their currencies wouldn't be weak. See, Bitcoin is like the most powerful network out there. It's like a modern, high-velocity economic energy system. Now let's talk about how Bitcoin can fix all our economic problems. It's not just for individuals like you and me. We want everyone, from pension funds to institutional investors, businesses, governments, charities, and more, to adopt Bitcoin. But for that, we need an infrastructure of institutional custodians, big banks, and major investors. And guess what? They're all starting to get on board. We've recently seen banks like Deutsche Bank and Credit Agricole, and institutions like BlackRock and Fidelity showing interest in Bitcoin. In fact, BlackRock, one of the largest institutional money managers, has even applied for a Bitcoin ETF. Now that's a big deal because it means the establishment is endorsing Bitcoin. They're not against it, they're just catching up. And when the big Wall Street firms like Citadel, Fidelity, and Charles Schwab back a non-custodial exchange called EDX, it sets the stage for the SEC to approve a Bitcoin spot ETF. But why is all this important to average, regular folks like you and me? Well, let's look at the alternatives. Saving money in a regular savings account or bonds is a losing proposition thanks to inflation. Even investing in the stock market might just keep you treading water. And buying real estate as an average person isn't easy either. The problem with securities is that you don't have the same property rights as if you own the physical asset. That's where Bitcoin comes in. By investing in Bitcoin, you can actually preserve your wealth and achieve real financial freedom. Bitcoin is an asset class that's not going away, and if it's not going to zero, it's going to 1,000,000. And guess what? Institutions like BlackRock, Fidelity, and Charles Schwab are interested in it, so it's not some tulip bulb scam. So, my friends, if you want to benefit from Bitcoin, it's time to consider it as a long-term investment. The key milestones to drive mainstream adoption are the approval of a spot ETF, the recognition of Bitcoin as an asset class, the normalization of accounting via fair value accounting, and the upcoming Bitcoin halving event. These are all major milestones that will drive Bitcoin's price up. So whether you're an average person making $60,000 a year, saving up for a jet ski, or thinking about retirement, consider Bitcoin as a way to preserve and grow your wealth. It's time to harness the power of this thermodynamically sound money and take control of your financial future. Trust me, it's a decision you won't regret. Imagine you're a business owner. You have to deal with various risks that could affect the value of your company. First, there's financial risk, where banks charge you fees and interest. Then there's labor risk, where the union can take your profits. Next, there's competition risk, where a superior competitor can push you out. Technology risk is also present, as advancements can make your product obsolete. And there's execution risk, where mistakes can harm your brand or product. But what if I told you there's a different kind of investment, a digital asset called Bitcoin, that eliminates many of these risks? It's like having a franchise where you don't have to worry about the day-to-day operations or the risks associated with traditional businesses. Bitcoin is a digital property, a kind of global asset that is not subject to dilution or obsolescence. It's like pure energy, something that can neither be destroyed nor created, only transformed. And there's no competition because there is only one Bitcoin, one network, created by an anonymous individual named Satoshi. With Bitcoin, you're getting a piece of the entire network, a share of all the money in the world that will ever exist. And unlike traditional investments, Bitcoin doesn't have the risks associated with securities, currencies, or physical property. Think about it this way. If you wanted to buy an apartment and rent it out on Airbnb, you'd face multiple risks like bad tenants, property damage, rent control, or natural disasters. But with Bitcoin, you're getting a scalable, indestructible global property that you can hold for years, even decades. Sure, there are risks involved, like setting up Bitcoin miners and potential government regulations, but those risks primarily fall on the miners and technology providers. As a Bitcoin holder, you benefit from their work without taking on their risks. Now imagine this scenario. You own a bar of gold in a bank in your city in 1900. Fast forward to today. and chances are you don't have it anymore. Banks fail, currencies collapse, and property values change. But with Bitcoin, it's different. It's a digital gold, a property that retains its value and can be held for generations. So how does Bitcoin benefit the middle-class family? It offers a way to take control of your economic destiny. You can accumulate Bitcoin over time, even if you can't afford a whole Bitcoin. And more banks around the world are entering the Bitcoin custody business, recognizing its value as a valuable asset. Bitcoin is a simple, pure economic asset that appeals to the middle class. It's a way to secure your wealth without the complexities and risks of traditional investments. So even if you feel like you're late to the party, there's still an opportunity to participate and benefit from the potential growth of Bitcoin. All right, let me break it down for you in a fun and easy to understand way. Imagine you're back in 1900 in New York City. It's the hottest spot in North America, the place to be. If you had the chance to buy a city block in New York back then, would you do it? Of course, because New York was the economic epicenter, where all the smart money was. And as time went on, New York continued to be the place to be, and if you had bought real estate there in 1900, you would be sitting on a gold mine. Now think of Bitcoin as the economic epicenter of cyberspace. It's the one place where if you want to create a digital application or move money at the speed of light, you use Bitcoin. Just like how everyone gravitates towards New York City, people from all over the world are gravitating towards Bitcoin because it's the most powerful network in cyberspace. Bitcoin represents the digital epicenter where all the smart money is. It's like buying a block in cyber New York. And just like how New York's value grew over time, Bitcoin has the potential to grow exponentially. Right now, Bitcoin is a $500 billion network, but it could grow to be 1,000 times bigger than that. There is about $950 trillion worth of wealth out there, and as people get smarter, they will sell their traditional assets like gold, real estate, bonds, and equities, and invest in Bitcoin. Why? Because gold, for example, is not working as good money. It loses value over time, while Bitcoin has gone up 150% in the last 2.5 years. So what scares me the most about Bitcoin adoption? Honestly, not much. Bitcoin has already crossed the event horizon, meaning that even powerful politicians and institutions are recognizing its value and not trying to ban it. The skeptics are being silenced, and we're now at a stage where Bitcoin is seen as an asset or a dominant digital monetary network. It's like the Apple or Google of digital money, and if you dive deeper into understanding Bitcoin, you may become a maximalist, someone who believes in its power as an instrument of economic empowerment for the world. Imagine you're in a race and you have a super powerful sports car, while your competitors have average sedans. Your car is so much faster and more efficient that you zoom past them effortlessly. That's what Bitcoin miners are like compared to regular computers. They're like supercars racing against old beat-up sedans. So instead of worrying about Bitcoin, it's actually the other assets that should concern you. If you have money invested in anything other than Bitcoin, there's always a risk that someone will realize the superiority of Bitcoin and start selling those assets to buy Bitcoin. This could lead to a crash in their value while Bitcoin skyrockets. It's like being at a garage sale where everyone is selling old, outdated items for high prices. But there's one person who realizes that buying Bitcoin is the smartest move. Once that person makes the switch, everyone else starts to follow, and the value of those old items plummets while Bitcoin becomes even more valuable. This concept applies not just to individuals, but also to companies and even nations. If a company or a nation chooses to invest in Bitcoin, their assets can grow significantly, while those who stick to traditional assets may see their value diminish. So instead of fearing Bitcoin, we should be worried about the limitations and risks of other assets. Bitcoin offers a new world of possibilities, where anyone can have property rights, and the value of their assets can skyrocket. Our company has been raking in billions of dollars for our shareholders. Our stock has skyrocketed, outperforming giants like Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and Google. We're talking top of the line, cream of the crop, baby. Now here's the thing. Some people are afraid of Bitcoin. They say we should be buying gold instead. Well, guess what? If we had listened to them, we'd be sitting on a measly $220 million worth of gold right now. But no. We took a chance on Bitcoin, and boy, did it pay off. We're sitting pretty with $4.2 billion worth of Bitcoin. That's what these folks fear. And let's not even get started on the PESO standard. In just 20 years, the peso lost a whopping 99.8% of its value against the mighty dollar. That's like throwing away your wealth down the drain. The dollar ain't doing much better either, losing 75% against scarce assets. So, unless you enjoy watching your money disappear, steer clear of those standards. The fear, my friends, is not Bitcoin itself. It's the fear of missing out on the opportunity. It's like having a great idea that you wouldn't want your competitor to snatch away from you. We've passed the point of no return, my friends. Bitcoin is winning and it's being recognized all over the world. So let's not mess things up. Bitcoin is already perfect, my friends. Those who try to tinker with it just want to spoil the party. We're at an exciting phase of expansion and adoption, and it's up to us to educate the world about the wonders of Bitcoin. Let's embrace the power of Bitcoin. It's the future that's already here. We just got to spread the word and show the world how this technology can change their lives for the better. And hey, don't worry, I'll be keeping an eye out for any potential threats, but right now, it's smooth sailing on the Bitcoin ship. Thank you for listening to this PodFast of my conversation with Aaron and Austin Arnold. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. See you next time.